love libraries. I really do. There's just something about them. The smell of the books, the hushed tones, the quiet rustle of pages turning. It's just a great atmosphere for learning and discovery. And as a kid who was always reading, I spent countless hours in my local library. And so it was with great sadness that I learned about the library that refused to burn. The story of this building and what happened to it is a very unique one. But before we get into it, if you like stories like this, be sure to stay tuned for more. This is the Crooked House, an iconic building in the town of Kingston upon Hull, often referred to simply as Hull, which is located in the East Riding of Yorkshire in England. Its official address is Sculthorpe High Street, Hull HU5 4DS, although these days it doesn't actually face High Street anymore. See, it used to, but the road was later rerouted around it. The house was built between 1679 and 1682 by Sir John Custis, who was Lord Mayor of London in 1678. He was knighted by King Charles II for his efforts during the London plague epidemic of 1665, when he organized food and supplies to those who were ill and unable to get sustenance for themselves. His home in London was used as a meeting place for the committee responsible for managing the plague, and he oversaw the construction of the long walls, which were built around the city to prevent the spread of the disease. For all these efforts, he was rewarded with a baronetcy and given the manor of Sculthorpe by the king. So he set about constructing a large country house on the site. It was designed by architect and surveyor Thomas Cupps, the same man responsible for the additions made to Buckingham Palace. Sir John died in 1683, though only 2 years after the house was completed, never seeing the finished product himself. The house stayed in the Custis family until 1717, at which point it passed to Sir John's grandson, Sir John Custis, who had been made governor of the Bank of England. This Sir John Custis, the second one, had the distinctive honor of being elected Lord Mayor of London twice, once in 1699 and again in 1705. Again, the house changed hands. This time to Sir John's son, Sir Robert Custis, who sold it in 1732 to wealthy landowner William Huddleston. William kept the house in the family, and it remained in their ownership until 1793, when it was bought by Thomas and Mary Pearson. It was during their ownership that the gardens were redesigned in the landscape style by renowned designer Thomas Robbins. It was also around this time that the house gained its nickname, the Crooked House. This was due to a series of events that took place in 1794. At the time, Great Britain was at war with revolutionary France, and there was concern that French privateers and smugglers were active along the Humber estuary, not far from Sculthorpe. As a result, coastal defenses were strengthened, and fortifications were constructed at Spurn Point at the mouth of the estuary. Then, in May of 1794, a French frigate called La Gracieuse ran aground near Spurn Point and was captured by British naval forces. In response to this perceived threat, the people of Hull decided to form their own militia to defend the town. They marched out to Spurn Point to capture any potential enemy forces that may have come ashore. And while they were gone, a group of soldiers stationed at Sculthorpe House, believing that the people of Hull had switched sides and were collaborating with the enemy, set fire to the building. Although no damage was done, this event led to the house being nicknamed the Crooked House. After this incident, the house saw a number of owners over the next century, with one owner even adding a fourth floor to the building in 1858. But in 1898, it was purchased by Hull City Council to serve as a public library. It was officially opened as such on January 16, 1903, and quickly became a popular addition to the community. People loved the grandeur of the building with its high ceilings and large rooms, but perhaps most importantly, it offered the people of Hull a free resource to educate themselves and discover new things. I mean, I can't think of anything better than that. Unfortunately, this good deed would later come back to haunt the city council. See, in 1937, Hull was hit by a severe flood, causing extensive damage to the building. By 1941, the whole roof had collapsed, causing damage to the first floor. With World War II raging on, the council decided that now was not the time to repair the building. Instead, they removed the debris and boarded up the entrance, leaving the building empty and exposed to the elements. And then in 1954, it was severely damaged in a storm, causing the first floor to collapse completely. Finally, in 1961, repairs to the building began. It was then that the council discovered that there was another problem. See, when they removed the debris from the roof in 1941, they thought they had disposed of it all. But that wasn't the case. Now, 20 years later, in the midst of doing repairs, they found that much of the old roof was still present, having been hidden underneath layers of vegetation and soil. You can imagine how difficult it must have been for them to remove the roof when it wasn't easily accessible. But they managed, and they also repaired the floors, put in central heating, and converted the interior into modern office space. In 1964, the offices were let to the Ministry of Pensions and National Insurance, and a year later, the building was officially reopened as the National Insurance Office for the Department of Health and Social Security. During the renovations, a secret room was discovered behind one of the fireplaces on the ground floor. It was hidden behind a bookshelf, which itself was hiding a door. And inside the room, they found a small safe hidden under the floorboards. When they examined the safe, they found that it was empty and rusted shut, so they simply removed it and left it outside. It's since been placed in the nearby park. Today, the building is still occupied by various government agencies. The exterior largely remains unchanged since it was last renovated in the 1960s. But it is in need of some repair work. Most of the stonework has been covered in cement, which has darkened the appearance of the building. And there are still some boarded-up windows on the top floor. In recent years, there has been talk of restoring the building to its former glory and opening it up as a cultural venue. But these plans have yet to be realized. When researching this video, I couldn't help but feeling disheartened by the fact that such a beautiful building has been left abandoned for so long. I hope that one day it will be restored and used for the benefit of the community once again. To me, it would be an ideal location for a library or a museum. Perhaps there could be a cafe on the ground floor. I don't know. What do you think would be a good use for the building? Let me know down below. As always, I would like to thank my patrons for their continued support. If you would like to become a patron, you can do so today at our support page. Thank you for watching. Until next time.